Hey everybody, it is Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and I'm coming to you tonight with another Garage Gun Talk video, and also an upcoming projects video. I got so much on the table tonight. I got so much going on, which is a good thing. It just can get a little bit overwhelming at times because I realized how blessed and fortunate I am, but then I realized I got to work through all this stuff because the pressure is always on for me to make better and better content. It's kind of a personal pride thing. But also, I want to please as many people as possible and give them good information. And sometimes I feel like I don't always live up to that standard, but I do try. I do try. So I thought I would talk about some upcoming projects that I have on the main channel. And on the table, literally, I have 3 products that I'm reviewing, and then I have 3 more firearms that I am reviewing. I was able to see my friend D today, and of course you guys know he has an amazing collection, and he lent a couple, well actually 3 amazing firearms. So I guess I'll talk about the products first. I know these might not be as exciting to a lot of you guys, but I like to do these products that are sent to me, and often they're, cheaper Chinese products, but it's because although I review a lot of high-end guns, I like to review some of the lower end stuff and lower end products because, not everybody is in a place where they can afford a $4,000 Knight's Armament rifle. I remember when I first got into firearms back in like 2009, 2010, in that area, I was so excited when I was able to afford and buy my first Glock 17. I was so excited about that. I thought, wow, I've, gotten a high-end quality firearm. And yeah, the Glock 17's a nice, good quality firearm. There's no problems with that. But of course, my collection and my tastes have expanded beyond that, and I'm in a different place now than I was then. But I want to make sure that my product is, or the products that I review and the product that I put out is for a wide range of people. I know that the people that really like the high-end stuff, the B&Ts, and Knight's Armament, probably aren't going to watch some of my cheaper product reviews, but that's okay. But then I know there's a lot of people out there that like the stuff that I review that is lower end. If I do a Kel-Tec review, or, which by the way, it's kind of a funny story. Earlier this week, I had a really mean comment on my main channel. It was actually on a Kel-Tec that I reviewed, and you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Kel-Tec. And the guy called me a name, pretty much saying I didn't know what I was talking about, I'm an idiot, and blah, blah, blah. And then he had this little quip at the end. He goes, and you don't like Kel-Tecs. And now I see why your channel doesn't have very many subscribers. So, of course, I didn't even respond to it, just blocked him. But I kind of chuckled and laughed because many times people that are finding my channel now don't understand that my channel was so much bigger in the past before we had the YouTube gun channel purge about a year ago. But anyway, speaking of Kel-Tec and cheap things, I have a few cheap products. And sometimes these things are like a diamond in the rough. You find something that's sent, it's like, man, this thing's going to be cheap. You're like, wow, this thing's actually pretty good. The first thing I have is this Rory Red Dot Reflex sight. It's like your standard fare of Chinese, sights. I have to say the technology that goes into these is a lot better than it was 10 or 15 years ago because my first red dot sight, I think, was a Sight Mark, and it fell apart on me. But that was like 15 years ago. I know their stuff has gotten a lot better since, but I think all the Chinese companies have gotten better since. But they still have, of course, quality control issues or things that they just don't understand that the American consumer wants. And I can spoil this review for you. It actually works pretty well. It mounts, no problem, uses an RMR footprint, but there are no click adjusts and no detents on the adjustment. So it's really hard to zero. And I'm not 100% sure it keeps perfect zero because those adjustment screws can move a little bit and they're really easy to turn. So have that. I took that to the range today on the, in fact I have it out here, the Walther PDP. So this is the gun I kind of use as a platform to test all these red dot optics. And get this out of the way. So I did that. Another product which I kind of had some high hopes for. In fact, I think it is actually a quality built product, but I have some design issues with it. I got this little shooting portable tripod from a company called Mid-10. And this, quality-wise, is actually pretty nice. I was really interested in reviewing it because I'm always, going to the range and using my range bag when I rest my rifles for the, the bench resting portion. It'd be nice to have a little tripod that I can move from rifle to rifle, or just have just sitting on the table and just put one gun in there. I can even do pistols on this. And it has lots of adjustments. The only problem with this is the base. The legs are just too narrow together. Like, they really need to come out a little bit further so it would stabilize it. So when it's sitting on the table and you shoot it, it easily can rock, especially if it's really, really high. So it just needs a wider, more stable base. But everything else about this is really well constructed. It works. I mean, you can put a lot of pressure on this. The little V portion up here is soft rubber, so it won't hurt your rifle or handgun or whatever you rest on it. So pretty happy with that, but it needs to have a wider base. So I reviewed that today. Another product that I thought would actually work, I didn't think I would like it, but actually it kind of disappointed me, was this little brass catcher. Normally I like the little bags that attach like the Picatinny rail, but this one does not attach to the Picatinny rail. It uses a little mount, which is supposed to go around the magwell of a mil-spec AR-15. In fact, that's why I have my wife's pink AR out here. She wanted to go to the range and shoot her AR, and I was like, well, this is a good opportunity for me to get this out because it's been on the chopping block to get reviewed for a while, and it's a Anderson Manufacturing lower receiver on her AR. So I was like, okay, if this is going to work on anything, it's going to work on that. And because the Chinese don't have access to the guns that we do, they don't always make things in spec. And this is really close, but this mount kind of goes around it like it's supposed to, but it's a little bit too short. And I got it on. I felt like it was going to work right, and then when I took this off to dump out the rounds, which, by the way, it does work fine when it comes to collecting the brass, the whole mount came off. So maybe I have to tighten down those screws a lot more, but I'm scared to because this is just plastic. I have 2 screws here, but I don't know. It's not metal reinforced, but I'm going to talk about that in the review. Also, having a hard plastic brass catcher on the side, it kind of gets in the way of the magazine and pulling the magazine out and things. But I don't know, it might be for somebody, but for me, it doesn't work on a mil-spec. It's a little bit out of spec, or the mount is, and this definitely would not work on like a billet AR, where the ones that attach to the Picatinny rail on the top would. But the advantage of this one is it doesn't use the Picatinny rail space, so you can still mount a scope or optics or whatever. So that's what I'm doing those product reviews on. But now let's talk about the guns, the stuff that you guys probably want to talk about and see. So as I said, I was able to see my friend D today. And speaking of other upcoming projects, I was able to get that Browning Buckmark to the range yesterday. That thing is a super accurate pistol. And somebody said on that video, those things are really hard to get apart. So I'll probably have to do a field strip on that one. Not a big fan of the Sightmark optic that's on it, but it worked. But that gun is a tack driver. I am so impressed with that Browning Buckmark. Really am. So I'm going to film the garage portion of the range report on that tomorrow. But let's talk about the firearms that D lent to the channel. Let's start off with B&T. Everyone knows me as the B&T guy. So here we have something that's relatively new on the market. We got the B&T Apc10. So yes, this thing is chambered in 10mm. A lot of you guys are going to like that. But as you can see, it is a pistol. And now some people say you're not reviewing these right because they're not SBRs and whatever. But remember, we live in a post-ATF brace rule world. And as of right now, it has not been overturned. And when it comes to the injunctions, things are kind of up in the air. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want anybody to get in trouble. So I'm going to review this as a pistol. And another reason I like to review these is this is going to be the configuration most people are going to buy this gun in. And some people might live in jurisdictions where they can't SBR, can't own NFA items, but they want a gun like this. And maybe in the future we'll be able to have pistol braces or whatever. And they just want to have this, and this is what they're going to shoot. So I'm going to review it as that. I can still talk about the functionality of the gun, the features, what I like and don't like. And when it comes to this, I just can't attach, of course, a stock or a brace. But I'm thinking what I'm going to do, and maybe you guys can help me, because it has a buffer tube, which is integral to the mechanics of the firearm, I'm really kind of scared to hold it out like I normally do, because if it has a lot of recoil, especially because it's 10 millimeter, I don't want this thing coming back and, you know, hitting me in the face, hitting me in the shoulder. I don't think it would. I could hold it like way out here, but still not a big fan of that because it has this big old long buffer tube. So I'm thinking about, because it's totally legal to shoulder this, you just can't have the brace, I'm thinking about putting on some type of padding on my shoulder. You know, I don't know if you guys have any ideas where really, if I just get the buffer tube right here, I can see through that aim point just fine. I just know if I shoot it like this sharp edge is going to dig into my shoulder. So I think if I put on some padding in here, I'll be able to review this really kind of like an SBR, but it's just going to have the buffer tube and still be a pistol. So if you guys have any ideas on that, let me know. I have to work on that. And something that apparently B&T has listened to the consumers on, and who knows, maybe I am one of the influencers that got them to do this. It's not 100% what I want, but every time I've reviewed one of the 10 millimeter B&T stuff, I always said they need to make a proprietary magazine. Because, you know, they have proprietary magazines for 9 and 45. Yes, they still have the Glock lures, but I don't like everything taking a Glock magazine. The 10 millimeters always took the Glock Mags, but one of the downsides to those is that you only are limited to the capacity of the 10 millimeter magazines that Glock has, which they don't have any of the extended ones. And there's people that make the extended base plates and stuff, but I don't know. Well, B&T has finally come out with their own metal base plates for the Glock Mags. And this is what these guns ship with. So you get a lot more capacity in these 10 millimeter magazines. So it's kind of a hybrid of a B&T proprietary magazine. It uses the Glock mag up top. I still think that you should have a complete proprietary magazine, but I'll take this. I think this is going to really improve the functionality of the gun, and obviously will be reverse compatible with all their other 10 millimeter stuff. So that's kind of interesting. I'll probably devote some of the range report to that. The next gun I have on the table is a CMMG Mutant. Now, I know I have reviewed one of these in the past, but I don't know if I did a range report on it. I'll have to go back, but this model is different than the one that I know that I shot in the past. You know, some of my old range reports I lost on my old channel when I lost it because I didn't have them backed up. So I may have it, I may not, but I don't really remember re-uploading it to the channel. So I'm going to get a chance to review this again, and even if it is, it's a different model. This was the Resolute, and it's the Mutant from CMMG, which means it takes the AK-47 mags, but it kind of is like an AR-15 platform rifle, chambered in 7.62 by 39. So it's a blend of the AK, a blend of the AR. It does use a gas system. It's not a piston-driven system. Really nice setup here. It has one of these PDW stocks that you can just rip out to get to the right length that you want. It definitely works. Now, when I first got into firearms, I thought CMMG was kind of a cheaper company. I remember their ARs were kind of affordable. Their lower parts kits were that kind of like the entry-level stuff. But I have to say is that I think they have come a long way. I think every CMMG firearm I've ever reviewed has been pretty nice and high-end, and I've really enjoyed them. I've always felt like the parts you buy from them, though, are a little bit cheaper. But I think the company has come a long way, so I'm really excited to get a chance to shoot and review this. That's pretty awesome. Let me set this one down here for just a moment. Get this one out of the way, because the next one is a big boy. Here we go. Here we have another Knight's Armament. I don't even think I can get this whole thing in shot here. Here we go, right there. This is a Knight's Armament SR25 chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor with a 22-inch barrel. Yeah, this thing is one nice and expensive rifle. And take a look at this Night Force scope. I think this Night Force scope is probably more than the rifle itself. Man, that glass is nice. Take a look at that. Yeah, and of course this thing is a big old hefty rifle. 6.5 Creedmoor. That is awesome. Now, what's really interesting, I've already tried to take some pictures of it out here. I'm going to have to get my nicer camera out. The barrel is kind of fluted in that it doesn't have cuts in it. It looks like golf ball dimples all over the barrel. And I'm assuming that's for cooling. It's to reduce weight, but also keep the rigidity of the barrel. That is a really interesting idea. But yeah, it's a Knight's Armament, so of course everything on it is expensive, and these things are hard to get. Really cool muzzle brake on it. And I believe D said he did have the suppressor that he shot on this. And he says this thing is a tack driver. So I'm really excited to get to shoot this thing. So that is the latest upcoming projects here on the Texas Gun Vault. And hopefully you guys are subscribed to me over on the main channel. And if you're a Patreon supporter, hopefully you guys will be seeing these projects soon. I have to do 2 garage portions tomorrow. One on the Glock 19, my personal carry gun, and that Browning Buckmark. And so if you guys are patrons, you'll be seeing that in the next day or so. So that's what I have when it comes to upcoming projects and product reviews and things. All right, so now let's do a little gun talk and talk about other things besides the upcoming projects. And I have some little notes here for me to remind myself, because sometimes I get out here, I just talk and talk and talk, and I forget things. I want to talk about a little politics real fast. I was watching the Four Boxes Diner today, and I saw that he reported that Congress and the new Speaker of the House, they are starting to get, I guess we're going to say, some balls to defund the ATF. Essentially, they're putting in line items in the budgets and saying that the ATF can't get this funding to do certain things, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And everyone's celebrating this. But the one thing that I think he neglected to talk in his video is the ramifications of it. And you guys know, once again, I'm Mr. Blackpill, okay? I like to think I'm the realist, okay? I am celebrating the fact that the ATF may be defunded. But remember, just like in physics, with every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, okay? So let me ask you, what do you think is going to happen with these petty people if they defund the ATF? What do you think is going to happen? Well, of course, we know what's going to happen. They're going to try to hurt you. So they might not be able to use money for enforcement of their rules, and they might have to let agents go or not hire new agents or whatever. They're going to make sure that people that need their services are not going to be able to get their services. So, for example, if you are waiting on a suppressor, they're probably going to say, oh, woe is us, our funding's been cut. Now you're going to have to wait 2 years or 3 years for our examiners to get to your NFA items. Tisk, 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 too bad, we got defunded. So they're going to try to make you suffer. If you're an FFL or an SOT, expect them to be really slow in all the paperwork processing. Or if you're applying for that, it's going to be really, really slow. I think they're just going to try to hurt the industry. If you're trying to import stuff, whether it be ammo or firearms, it's going to be slow. If you're trying to export, it's going to be slow. They're just going to clog up the system. And they're going to be like, oh, it's out of our hands. Congress defunded us. So I actually think it's going to be hurtful for the firearms industry. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want the ATF defunded, right? It's the way to do it. But I think you're going to see the repercussions of that, because I don't think Congress is thinking about the pettiness of the people that are running the ATF and how they're going to try to hurt you and use the defunding action to try to deny you your rights. So what do you guys think about that? And did you guys watch the Four Boxes Diner video on that? I love his channel. Mark Smith over there is awesome. He's one of those level-headed guys, not a lot of clickbait, if at all. I really like his take. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is, I guess, talking about one of the most difficult things I have to do as a firearms content creator, because sometimes I let people down. And so I need to address something that my friend Jack, who of course you guys know has lent a lot of firearms to the channel, and I went over to his house to drop off the latest batch of guns that I reviewed of his. And he said, Jason, I'm a little bit disappointed in you. And I was like, uh-oh, what'd I do? Because let me tell you. Let me tell you. In the course of the Texas Gun Vault, I have let people down. I try not to let people down, but I do from time to time. I'll do something, say something, people think I'm implying something, or I have an opinion that people disagree with. I guess it's just par for the course. The one thing I've had to learn and accept in life is that you're not going to be able to please everybody all the time. And there are going to be people that don't like you for whatever reason, okay? Like, there are people, I can tell you, in this world, I know in the firearms world and the music world where I come from, that just don't like me because of whatever reason. It's just they don't like the fact I'm bald, or my sound of my voice, or my aura, my energy. They don't like that, and that's okay. You know, there's people out there I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of. Not that they've done anything to me or said anything mean. It's just, maybe I'm not personality compatible with them. But I try to overcome that. But there's some people out there that just don't like me, and it's hard for me sometimes because I feel like I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the creation of this content. And even if you don't like me, I hope that you get something out of it, because I want the point of these reviews to not be me. I don't want to be the person. I want to be the gun. I want to show off the gun. The gun is the star. This night's armament is the star of the video. I'm not the star of the video. Where I know other channels, the star of the video is the personality presenting. Like a Hickok 45, okay? He's the old grandpa, nice guy, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's the personality and the persona and the character of Hickok 45. But I just want to be somebody that's the presenter who is getting to bring you the star of the video, which is the firearm. And yeah, I mean, it's impossible to keep my biases out, my personal opinions out, and experiences. But Jack told me he was disappointed in my star rating on the Smith & Wesson M&P 9 Performance Center, which I have to think, I don't know if that one's out yet. It might be, or it might be up in the next couple of weeks coming out. Anyway, it was a good gun. It was a good pistol. And I think in the review of that pistol, it was, I think I gave it like a 3.5 stars. Okay, I had a few issues with it. It ran fine. You know, but I just had some issues with it. I don't think I shot it the most accurate. And I try to be as I don't say unbiased, I guess, but I try to qualify everything I have an issue with, whether that be actually a pro or a con, with why I don't like it. The one thing I don't like about reviewers is they say, I don't like this, and they don't tell you why. They're just like, I don't like this color. I don't like this grip. Well, why? Because what somebody doesn't like, I may love, because we're all individuals, right? I don't like grip textures that are too much like sandpaper, and some people absolutely love it. They have to have it on every gun, and that's fine. That's why on my descriptions of every video, I always say, this video documents my personal thoughts, opinions, and experiences with this firearm. Yours may vary. And I also am very cognizant that I couldn't do this without the generosity of people like D, you know, obviously here, or Richard, or Jack, or Ken, and all these amazing people around here who have lent me guns to the channel. And so I always want to make sure that they feel like number one, I treat their guns with respect. You know, I always return these guns in tip-top shape, completely cleaned, okay? But Jack said he was a little bit disappointed. He wasn't mad at me or anything, but he felt like I let him down because he thought the gun should have gotten a higher rating. And I understand that, you know, when I review this, I want to be as honest as possible because I want people to think that I am authentic in my presentation style and I explain my thoughts and opinions. And sometimes I will review a gun that somebody lends to the channel and it's a complete piece of junk. Like, in fact, there was a gun, it was the Honor Guard, that was Jack lent to me. I gave that thing a 1 star, and Jack even told me, he goes, I would have given it a 0 star because that gun sucks. So I actually overrated that gun. Man, as I said, Jack was not mad at me. I'm pretty sure he's going to continue lending me guns. But I wanted to tell people that when it comes to my rating system, it's not a scientific thing. It's kind of how I feel in the moment. You guys don't get that my range reports are all done off the cuff. Like, I usually write up some type of like bullet point script. I know what I want to say in each section, but the actual words that are coming out of my mouth are some things that I'm thinking about in the moment. And often when it comes to the rating, sometimes I will actually put a rating on the bottom of the bullet point script. And then other times I will make that decision at the moment I say it, because I will be all the memories of the gun, the thoughts of the gun, my experiences with the gun from the range or handling it on the workbench, or even sometimes after field stripping it. Because often I'll film the field strip videos before I do the range report videos. It's an emotional thing in the moment. And sometimes I will say I might underrate a gun or overrate a gun. And people have accused me, oh, that gun's a piece of junk, and you rated it as 4.5 stars, why in the world? And then vice versa. And I just want people to know that if you disagree with my rating systems, it's okay. And it's just my personal opinions. And I never want to make anybody feel bad. But I always try to make sure that when people lend guns to the channel, that I say, it's going to be my personal opinions. It doesn't mean that your gun is bad. Or if you own that gun, it's bad. Or you made a bad decision. Okay? It's just me. Okay? Some guns, I don't shoot well. I fully admit it. Okay? And I'm not like Haycock 45, where I love every single gun. Okay? That's not the point of this channel. I'm an average gun guy. But as I said, Jack understood. But I did want to apologize to Jack because I let him down a little bit. He thought it should have at least gotten 4 stars. It's something in the 4 range. And I gave it 3.5. But anyway, so I wanted to publicly apologize to him and thank him for continuing to understand and to put up with me. And to show you that I think he forgave me, he gave me a little swag. He said, I think his son bought him some ammo from Palmetto State Armory, and they sent him a sticker. And he knows I always collect these stickers and swag. I like to put them on my safe. And anything I have duplicates of, I put out here on my workbench. But all my safes, I try to have unique stickers. And so I don't have a pink Palmetto State Armory sticker. So I love collecting these stickers and patches. I put the patches inside the safe. So every time I get an opportunity to pick up something like that, I do. So Jack gave me that. So anyway, Jack, I hope you understand. And I just wanted to publicly talk about that. The last thing I wanted to talk about before I let you go, because I know I've been talking now for almost 26 and a half minutes. I just want to tell you guys, give you a little insight into my personal life and just talk about something that's been on my mind, especially in light of what happened yesterday. I got notified a few days ago that a colleague of mine, not in the firearms world, but in the music world, he's a trombone player that I used to teach with on the other side of town. I taught with him for about 3 or 4 years. And sweetheart of a guy. I mean, he just a nice guy. I'm just going to tell you that he was just a genuine nice guy. And I saw on Facebook he posted that he was in the hospital fighting for his life. Now, his name was Dutch. Okay, actually, I think his real name was Arthur, but he went by Dutch. And great trombone player, great teacher, loved music. But he was always a really large gentleman. Okay, it's obvious that he struggled with weight his entire life. Very large. I mean, not just, Texas Gun Vault dad bod, I'm talking very large. And I know he was trying to get healthy, but I guess he was having congestive heart failure, I guess. And I guess he also has some family history. And so I knew him having that weight was unhealthy. And I guess he had some complications from it. He was in the hospital. And I found out yesterday from postings that he passed away. And in fact, I talked to him about a month ago. I would say he was probably in his upper 40s, and it just kind of hits home right now because I'm 43, going to turn 44 next year. And I'm kind of going through my existential crisis right now, thinking about, mortality and, realizing there might not be as many days ahead as there are behind. Yeah, I think everybody goes through this in some way. And my analytical mind is just like all the time. And sometimes I get a little bit down, contemplating my own mortality, asking myself if I've made a difference in this world. Have I affected people in a positive way? And I'm starting to notice that in my contact book on my phone, my contact list, there's more and more people on there that are no longer with us. I last year at this time, I lost a friend who was only 30 years old. Another trombone player, actually, musician in the area. Still not sure what he passed away from. I still haven't asked the family. I don't think, it's 100% sure it wasn't suicide. But maybe he had a medical condition I didn't know about. He used to play in my professional brass group. His name was a Brett, another sweetheart of a guy. And as time has gone on, I guess I'm at this point where I'm going through this existential crisis, and I'm also starting to see people that are my age, younger, maybe a little bit older, that aren't with us anymore. I mean, it's different. I think when somebody, I remember when my grandmother passed away. She was 94, and you're sad, obviously you're sad, but you go, 94 is a good run. 94 is a good run, you know? You miss them, but you realize it's time, you know? I guess there's a time to be born, a time to die. And you just don't want that to be too soon. And there's a lot of people that I know right now that are just going too soon. So I just want to say, because I'm feeling this, that I'm not really a feeler. I'm an INTJ. I just want to tell you guys that live life to its fullest. Live every day. Count your blessings, you know. And that's why I am personally so thankful for all of you that watch my channel. I hope that you guys get something out of my content. Thank you for the people that lend this stuff to the channel, because I couldn't do it without them. Thank you to my Patreons. I am humbled beyond belief, you know, and I try to make my life worth it, you know. Sometimes we get into the mundane things of day to day. I just want to tell you guys, because I'm just feeling like I need to tell you guys, make sure you're living your life to the fullest, and that you count your blessings every single day, because you're not promised tomorrow. As Gandalf said in Lord of the Rings, I think to Frodo, you know, all we can do is do the best with the time that we are given. And so just count your blessings. I know I try to. I'm not perfect. But that's just the way I wanted to end tonight's video, because I personally am thankful, and I am blessed beyond my wildest dreams in ways that you guys could never comprehend. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you for watching to the end. This has been a long one, 31 minutes. So if you made it to the very end of this video, the very end, number one, you have a very large tolerance of pain. But number two, I'd like you to say, thank you, Jack, because I want Jack to know how much I appreciate him. And I'm sorry that he felt that I underrated one of his guns. And thank him for the sticker. But I couldn't do it without people like Dee and Ken and all those people I mentioned. People that I can't even remember right now off the top of my head. But I want to thank Jack. So say thank you, Jack, in the comment section below, to make him feel better, to know that the Texas Gun Vault community appreciates him as much as I do. So that's all I got for you guys tonight. We unboxed a lot of stuff, okay? So talk about a lot of stuff. So talk about anything you want in the comment section, and as always, let's have a great conversation down there. So, as always, thanks for watching.